stuck here. The cops won't bother me. Hey squids, here I am in my garage with my vstrom 650, and I've hit I put already 53,000 miles on this bike, and I do quite a bit of vlogs and stuff like that, but I wanted to talk to you guys about some of the things I wish that this vstrom had. And I'm not talking about, this bike is pretty good, and I think some of the things that are wrong with it are mainly aesthetic. For example, the looks is, you know, they're not like the best looking bike in the world. It's kind of fugly in my opinion, but that kind of serves a little bit of its purpose because it's so bland that cops are not really drawn to it. But I do wish it was a little bit more aggressive looking. I've seen these V-stroms that had a beak, and I think that's one of the things I wish this one had, is a little bit of a beak here to make it more aggressive. I do like the single headlights that people are putting on. I kind of wish that this one was more styled after KTM. It should come with a adjustable windscreen from the factory that makes it much easier and much more usable. Now, this is something that, it's okay. I like chains, but I wish this was a shaft drive. It really, like a 650 shaft drive would be perfect for me because I hate having to do chain maintenance. It's not hard to do, but when you ride a lot, it kind of just, it's something that I don't want to have to keep doing. Now this could be something that a lot of people might disagree. This VTwin is, it's excellent. That's the heart and soul of the V-strom. But you know, it's 2019 and V-twins aren't very efficient. So I think that V-strom should be a inline 2 because a lot of motorcycles are going towards the inline 2s and they're just so much more efficient. And when you're riding cross country, it helps to not spend a lot of money on gas and just keep riding. So that's kind of like one of the things I wish that Suzuki in the future would do, is just replace the V-twin. I'm not that big of a fan of a V-twin, but of course these engines are what makes the V-strom so good. Riding on the street on a V-twin is perfect. They make great power. But we have to all move on, I think, so that's one of the reasons we should change it up. And of course, I kind of wish that the front tire was a 21-inch. Not that the 19-inch is bad. It actually makes it a better bike having a 19-inch, but it's, you know, it's just Africa Twins and stuff. The adventure market is taking off, so having a larger diameter front wheel would help off-roading. And of course, another thing that I wish that Suzuki would do is put a bash plate stock from the factory on the V-strom, because this one doesn't have it, and this is very exposed, and the filter is very exposed, so it's not a very good bike for off-roading if you have it set up like I do. But I tend not to do a lot of modifications on bikes because, you know, it's just money down the drain. But I've ridden this bike quite a bit in gravel, and you could damage the radiator the way it is. It does have a little bit of a plate here, but that's not enough. And of course, it's just one of these things that you just have to update. Now, the suspension on the V-strom is adequate, but I wish it was a little bit nicer, a little bit firmer. One thing that I wish that V-stroms had, and bikes in general, I would replace this entire cluster with a digital touchscreen dash, because, you know, a lot of bikes are having that, and put a GPS integrated on here. Why can't they put a Bluetooth GPS thing on here? It would be so much cooler having something that just replaces the entire chunk. And by the way, this looks good, even for 2006. This is a well-designed dash, but of course it's very dated at this point. Another thing that I wish that these bikes would have is a no key sort of thing. I hate having to put my key in here Or I hate having the key off the bike, putting on my gloves, and then realizing that the key is in my pocket and then having to take off the gloves to do that. And if you had a no key entry, you would just push start and it would go. It would be a much better system. I know that has a little bit more maintenance, but we all have to move on, right? When you consider the competition, this bike with its engine is fantastic. It just needs a little bit more now to lift it off into a better adventure like touring market, because right now it's being crushed by the competition. And I think a lot of it has to do with looks. When you consider a lot of people that ride this are surprised by how good it is. And I've seen journalists who have done that. They've gotten on this bike after they get off a BMW GS and go like, wow, you can get a bike like this to ride like this for a fraction of a cost of a BMW. It's amazing. Like, this bike is an incredible bike that not a lot of people give it enough credit for. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.